So I'm from the Netherlands. My name is Leon Elings. I work for a company named bloXmove. It's actually a German company. So it's nice to be here from the Netherlands in Germany talking about the German company. I'm actually the only Dutch employee at this company. And what we do is we connect green mobility and green power to each other. So electric mobility and green power are combined, and that's also a nice bridge from the previous topic to this topic. And we do that via blockchain technology, and we commercialize that with, in ways that are located at the transaction level. So with transactions is what we make money. Just a little bit of a history about bloXmove. So bloXmove was incubated 3 years ago, or a bit more than 3 years ago actually, by now, at Daimler Mobility Blockchain Factory. It is now called Mercedes-Benz Group, as most of you probably know. And it was incubated with the help of Spherity, a blockchain company from Germany, 51 nodes, and Riddle and Code. These are really renowned names in the blockchain industry. And in May 2021, this technology by bloXmove was actually bought out. And it was bought out by 3 people, Sophia Rödiger, Harry Behrens, and Bernd Hanisch. And these are the 3 co-founders of bloXmove. They did a management buyout, which means that they bought the mobility blockchain platform and then started their own company. On the right, you see our network of partners. There's quite a few German partners, as you can see, and these are partners that we are working with on solution level. These are the founders, as I mentioned. I'm personally not on here, unfortunately. But I'm a business development specialist at bloXmove. So I introduced myself, but I didn't say what I do. Sophia Rödiger is the CEO and co-founder, together with Bernd, who is the CFO of the company, and Harry is the CTO of the company. You see a little bit of their history here. Since we only have 15 minutes, I'm going to go through some slides a bit quicker. If there's any further questions, you can always ask them afterwards, of course. So what I'm going to talk about is the different solutions that we have for the mobility sector. One of them is the vehicle-to-grid solution that we are looking to develop currently. And another one that I will discuss in this meeting today is green charging. For vehicle-to-grid solutions, you need, wait, I'm just going to go one back. So vehicle-to-grid, I guess most of you know it, but it's bidirectional charging. So you use your vehicle to supply power to the electricity grid and the other way around. So you can use the energy, for example, from your solar panels to charge your electric vehicle with, and you can sell that back to the electricity net, that electricity that is stored in your vehicle in case the energy price is higher. What you see currently is that the share of renewable energy in the electricity mix is increasing. And this leads to new problems that we didn't have before. So when electricity was fossil fuel powered, you had a more constant flow of electricity that could be provided. But with renewable energy, there are spikes in the supply. Meaning when there is more sun, there's more solar power produced, and when there is more wind energy, more wind energy is produced. So that leads to more fluctuations in the electricity grid. And that leads to instability and possible outages of the electricity net. In order to counter these effects, energy storage is needed. And as some of you may know, energy storage is quite, well, a tricky business still. It's not that efficient yet, and it's difficult to store energy for longer periods of time. So currently that is being worked on. What we see at bloXmove as a solution is storing it in electric vehicles, because electric vehicles have a battery, and they are ideal for that. And we're not the only ones working on this, of course. There's plenty of companies working on vehicle-to-grid, vehicle-to-X, which is actually vehicle to buildings or to other assets as well. But we are doing it with blockchain technology, and I will explain a little bit more about that. So grid balancing by storage of electrical energy, that can be done in multiple ways. I'm not going to go into too much detail here. But you have battery storage. You can store it in hydrogen as well, so you can use the excess energy to create hydrogen out of that. That's a very energy-intensive process. And there's thermal storage and mechanical storage within turbines. The most efficient way to store energy is actually battery storage. So the conversion losses there are only 10%. This strengthens our case why we think it's good to work with electric vehicles here. Here you see that the storage of energy and the potential capacity of these by electric vehicles is increasing exponentially over the next 8 years, more or less. I think it's till 2030. Yeah. So we think EV batteries are the perfect solution for storing this energy in and for potential use cases in balancing the grid. An example of a Nissan Leaf, for example, 62 kilowatt hours capacity. They can provide energy to an average German household for 7.5 days even. So that is a lot, and that is assuming an 8.2 kilowatt hour a day consumption pattern, which is quite an average. So this again shows this increase in potential market share and how big the market is in terms of dollar value. We expect that the market is about $31 billion worth in 2032 in the EU alone. And in the long term, we expect this to grow to $184 billion even. So you see that there's a large market share to be captured here. Countdown to 2030, so first, what is happening today? Today you have traditional unidirectional charging solutions in place, and there is very few cars that offer bidirectional charging solutions currently. There's a few. The Hyundai Ioniq 5 is one of them, and that is also being used currently for a solution with bidirectional charging in Utrecht in the Netherlands, for example. But there's very few models currently that offer this without, and it's also difficult because the battery also needs certain adjustments for that. So what we expect tomorrow is that this is a very smart and complex energy market where more and more assets are decentralized, and where electric vehicles, which are also decentralized assets actually, can store this energy and together can capture this energy in a way that stabilizes the electricity grid. You can see that this way all of these different assets will be connected to each other at some point in the future. So looking at the market today, there's a lot of different steps that need to be taken in order to get to this market of tomorrow. I'm just going to quickly go through this. This is too complex and too much text for now, but this is about the complexity of billing when you have all these different actors in place. So you see it's very difficult to see who is going to pay for which bills, who is responsible for which part. But I'm not going to go into too much detail. The business model for bloXmove, by the way, is in the settlement layer. So we do take a commission on every transaction happening on our blockchain solution. We're, by the way, a layer 2 blockchain solution, so that means that we run on top of other blockchains, and we intend to have a multi-chain model for that. So we apply our solutions to the blockchain that is most suitable for that specific solution at hand. So just one of the things that we've been working on, we enable direct connection between devices via this blockchain. So by doing so, you can exchange transactions between different actors within the network automatically, instant and secure. What we developed, for example, with EnergyWeb is EnergyWeb has an open charging network, and they actually bought up another company, Share and Charge, with whom they cooperated in the past. And this is a compliant network that enables the charging solutions that we are looking for. So for this specific solution, we worked with EnergyWeb in the past, and we developed something enabling the interaction between these different assets. What bloXmove was providing was the vehicle identification, vehicle number identification, verification, the contracting, and the settlement of these transactions. And EnergyWeb, with the EnergyWeb chain and open charging network, is in the middle of that, facilitating that all. And eventually, that is the the Energy blockchain platform that is doing that gets the input from the mobility blockchain platform, and that is doing the identification, verification, and this contracting and settlement between the different actors on that chain. So what we want to do is we want to enable the commercialization of decentralized energy grids, making it possible for the owners of electric vehicles to make money from their electric vehicles by selling back to the grid, and using their vehicles as energy storage. One of our pilot projects, also with EnergyWeb, is Rebeam. Rebeam is a project that enables flexible charging contracts between 2 or more different parties. Rebeam was used, maybe good to go back, by the way. This is what we envision. So you can see here that there is communication. I don't know why this picture is a little bit changed, but there's a blockchain here, and it should enable communication between all these different assets. So the arrows, they hide it a little bit, but this is the electric vehicle, building, solar energy, the energy grid, and CPO. CPO stands for charging point operators. So that is actually the charging points, like Lichtblik, which was mentioned before as a partner. They offer charging points where you can charge your electric vehicle. These are one of the partners there. And this interaction between these different components of the mobile vehicle charging grid, this grid for, sorry, I'm thinking about mobile, but I mean vehicles. So this interaction between these different vehicles is, and the different assets, is something that we facilitate and that we look to facilitate with our projects. And as you can see here, again, the arrow is a little bit changed somehow, but this solution, Rebeam, focuses on communication between the energy grid, the charging point operators, and the electric vehicles with the use of blockchain. And what we do there, we offer the verifiable credentials and the financial settlement, and EnergyWeb offers the blockchain on which this runs. Partners here included 50 Hertz, the TSO in Germany, and the Lichtblik, like I mentioned, the CPO, so the charging point operator. What it does, it identifies the user, the vehicle, and the charge point. So earlier in presentations, you possibly already saw something about SSI and DIDs, self-sovereign identity and decentralized or digital identifiers. Abbreviation is used in 2 ways. And we use that here as well. So it's used to identify the vehicle, the user, and the charging point. And we verify the charging contract with verifiable credentials. And that is coming from the energy provider. Eventually, like I mentioned, the settlement is on the EnergyWeb blockchain. Another pilot project that we've been working on, again with EnergyWeb and some other partners, Tronity, ChargeX, and Technische Universität München, and SAP.io, is the trusted green charging solution. You can find it also a very nice explanation on the Ilia and 50 Hertz, sorry, that was for the previous one for Rebeam on their website. For this one, we are working on trusted green charging. And as you can see from this picture and from the next picture, is that this project focuses on different interactions. So this focuses on interactions between EVs, the building, solar energy, and blockchain. So what we do here is we identify the energy source. This is about the origin of energy that is used to charge your electric vehicle. Meaning that if you want to charge your electric vehicle, in Germany I believe it's needed that you charge it with renewable energy. In the Netherlands it could be from a grey energy source as well. But we trace it back to the origin, also with the help of EnergyWeb. And in doing so, you can accurately say how much CO2 impact the charging of your electric vehicle has and what sources you use. You can even say, okay, I want to charge my vehicle with my own solar panels on my own roof and track it back to that source. So this is really good for carbon accounting and ESG reporting. Then there's a third project that's actually not started yet. It's called Reload. Reload is starting in the second quarter of 2023. And what we do here, again, we focus on the CPOs, the EVs, and the energy grid. But we realize vehicle-to-grid together with stakeholders from the energy and mobility sector. So partners here include Remondis, Tenet, Iveco, and some others. And we go into the identification of vehicles, electric trucks in this case, and charge points and energy and mobility stakeholders, so using digital identifiers, and the verification of this bidirectional that is needed for bidirectional charging. Eventually, bloXmove also plays a role here, again, in the settlement of these energy flows. That was it. Very quick, and I hope.
On time. Thank you very much. Give
Good.
Yes.
Yes, I see a question already.
Thank you. Did you investigate the willingness of people that have an electric car to participate in such a network to provide the battery capacity?
Good question. Most of these projects have been pilot projects so far, so nothing has been implemented. One project has been implemented though, that is for a decentralized mobility network in Midweida, at this university, I think it is, with Tier-scooters, but for these other solutions, we haven't really gone further than these pilot projects yet. Yeah. Good question.
Second question. You saw the peak loads in the middle of the day. How much of the peak load, or what percentage, do you think you can roam off by using the car batteries of people? So,
also a very good question. I don't know the specific numbers yet, to be honest, because we're in the beginning stages. bloXmove was bought, the technology was bought out a year ago, and we focused on decentralized mobility, so providing a platform for different mobility providers to offer their mobility services on. And we've started electricity and green charging solution use cases in the past 6 months. So we've merely conducted them in test environments so far. But we do want to go further into this strategy and see if we can develop these on another level and implement them in actually in real life, so to say. Yeah.
I also had a question about users. How can they be sure that they can actually use the car when it is maybe just discharged to 0%? Yeah,
good question. Tesla already has something similar. They have Autobidder, for example. They don't offer it for commercial use yet, but I believe they offer it for companies. And what you can do with Autobidder is you can actually trade your energy back and forth. And yeah, in that way, you can eventually decide yourself as well how far you want your vehicle to be charged when you need to leave again. So what they offer is an application, or I think it's via a mobile phone, where you can say, okay, I need my vehicle charged at 80% because I need to drive, I don't know, 50, 200 kilometers during that day. And by combining actually artificial intelligence, trading bots, and blockchain technology to identify the different assets in the market, you can automatically trade that energy, and it makes sure that your vehicle is charged to a certain extent so that you have enough power to reach your destination whenever you need to leave.
Yeah, nice. And I don't know how it is with car batteries, but with a mobile phone, if you don't charge it correctly, like for example, you're using it while charging, for example, or you don't let it go to a 0 and then to 100 again, it can lose like almost 50% of the max capacity within 2 years or something.
Yeah.
Does the same happen to car batteries, or is it less detrimental?
Yeah, there's different, also very nice question. I like the question so far. Thank you. So what is actually going on in that space is that you, that's why I mentioned that only very few vehicles are able to offer this currently, even though they're electric vehicles. So not every electric vehicle is suitable for it. And that is one of the reasons. And of course, it has an effect on battery life. So it depends on how much you can make from that, from using your car battery in that way, whether or not it's profitable or not. And what you also see, it's very different developments, but I don't know, there's also been a presentation from Kria earlier, I believe, or later in the evening. And they have a battery passport. So what you see with the battery passport is that this is actually tracking this battery life cycle and throughout its usage as well. That's true. You work for Kria? Yeah. Nice.
How about autonomous mobility on demand, like the concepts that come along with electrified cars in future? Yeah. The Chinese working crazy on this, and so the concept is the car would be used while I'm not using it, so and used by someone else. So I would rent out the car somewhere else, while you would like to have the car standing somewhere, and providing the energy that it has harvested in the night when the energy prices were down, right? Like, have you made that calculation as well?
It's a nice, interesting idea. I must say we work with Chinese partners as well, and they talk about smart cities and exactly this, the autonomous vehicle aspect. I think that these specific use cases are mostly suitable for ownership of vehicles and not necessarily for the shared vehicle market. So there's a different market at play there. And
but we believe that this would be not also being disrupted, like our common today.
Definitely.
My car stands in the garage and it's not providing any money or any value for anyone, just losing. So that could be also disrupted, right? Like the concept could be also influenced by that, right?
Yeah, definitely. And you see that there's a lot of different trends going on there as well in that field. Most of the cities, especially in Europe, they have a policy where they want to to avoid vehicles entering the city, right? So they want to make the cities more livable, is what they say, and they want to have the parking spots that are available in the city used optimally, because a lot of cities, like in Amsterdam, for example, they get too crowded. So there's also different use cases that they're thinking of there. And smart mobility and smart cities actually is a very big trend that is currently growing exponentially. I see it in China as well with the partners with whom we work. We are currently not focusing on that because when bloXmove started, we had a very broad focus also with the mobility blockchain platform. And we first want to, since we're a startup, we first want to develop certain use cases which are more focused around ownership of vehicles than going into the shared mobility market yet. Also there for financial settlement with these vehicles and for the digital identities that these vehicles need, there could be really good use cases there, but it's something for later.
Okay, thank you very much.
Welcome.